let's go ahead and jump right into how to calculate your macros. Okay. Now, before we start to calculate your macros, there are some really, really important things that you must know before we get started. Okay. It's first of all, you got to know some basic things like obviously your weight, your height, and your age. Those are all things that are super important. Okay. But also, you need to know what your goal is. Okay. If you want to lose fat, there's a certain way that you've got to calculate your stuff. If you want to gain muscle, there's certain stuff you got to calculate. If you want to recomp, you just want to stay about the same weight, but increase your muscle and decrease your fat. Okay. There's a certain way that you've got to calculate it. Okay. So you got to know your goal. Okay. You got to know how many days per week that you're exercising consistently. These are all things that you should already know. Now, this isn't how many times a week your goal is to exercise. You need to really sit down and say, this is how many times per week I'm actually exercising. Okay. Because that is going to matter when you go into calculating your macros, what you're actually doing, not what you're trying to do. Okay. We got to live in the real world here. Okay. Now, the other thing that you got to do is also know the activity level of your job. Okay. Are you sitting at a desk all day? Do you have some walking around? Or are you outside doing construction or doing heavy lifting? What is your normal daily activity? Because again, that also gets factored into calculating your macros. Okay. And then the final thing that you really need to know is you need to know how many grams, or I should say, how many calories are coming from 1 gram of carb, how many calories are coming from 1 gram of protein, and how many calories are coming from 1 gram of fat. In fact, most people don't know that. Okay. This is a scientific fact. Okay. For every gram of carbohydrates, it equals 4 calories. So there's 4 calories in every gram of carbohydrates. Okay. There's 4 calories in every gram of protein. Okay. So you can write that down. And for every gram of fat, there are 9 calories. Okay. That's a scientific fact that cannot be argued. That's what that is.